Barnaby Jones, starring Buddy Ebsen. Also starring Lee Merriweather, with guest stars Claude Akins, Neva Patterson, Lou Frizzell, Dabbs Greer, James Luisi. Tonight's episode, Murder Go Round.
To know what's going on in this town. I asked that real estate woman just some plain questions, and she practically throws me out of her office. Why? And on top of all that, somebody points a rifle at me. That big shot rancher, what's his name?
Ryle. Eli Ryle, not what's his name. I caught him tramping around on my property, trespassing.
I told you who I was, Eli. Nicky Gorman's the name. And I also told you, Eli, I was up here to meet my friend, Johnny Arthur.
Well, he didn't show up, did he?
The Spake's waiting for you, Eli.
Spake? He's the one who told me that the boating concession is closed for the season.
I don't like it.
Well, I know different.
How does he know different? How?
Hi, Mrs. Johnson.
They all here?
Not Mr. Flory yet.
Well, the four big shots in the town have made it plain enough that they don't want me around. And now something very mysterious happens to my car. Isn't that right, Mr. Flory?
Not mysterious at all. We discovered what it was. Manifold and carburetor both.
Wait. Now, you tell me one thing, your mechanic tells me something else. Now, what's all this stalling about?
Mr. Gorman, I expect a call very shortly that it's ready. And you can be on your way.
On my way, yeah, sure. Then you better watch out, all of you. I've been asking the sheriff a lot of questions. No answers. But I know damn well something fishy's going on around here. Hey, listen! The only thing I can't figure out is if they all want me out of here so badly, how come all of a sudden my car goes on the blink?
Mr. Gorman, nobody's trying to keep you here in Parker Junction. You're just upset because your friend Johnny Arthur didn't show up for that hunting and fishing you planned. You're just upset.
It's really come to this.
We agreed.
Why me? I never thought I'd get in this deep.
Now, what's that all about?
The town council.
Listen, your car's ready now.
I didn't hear the phone ring.
I called the garage in there.
Now, listen, I want to know what's going on in
Mr.
here.
Gorman.
Come on, tell me!
Mr. Gorman, pick up your car and leave town. Go on.
Like I said, all I know is Nick was going to... Well, he said he was going to meet Johnny Arthur. He's an old friend. Someplace in Northern California called Parker Junction.
Oh, yes, I know where that is.
Well, Nick said he was going to come back with $5,000. Maybe even more, honey. That's how he put it. Well, the twins need clothes. The rent's almost 4 months overdue. And all the other bills piled up, too. So naturally, when I asked him about it, and he said, "Don't worry, honey," I tried not to. Now he's dead.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Gorman. This must be very difficult for you.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, the reason I'm here is, why hasn't Johnny Arthur been in touch? Nick went up there to meet him, and Johnny hasn't even called. And what happened to the money that he and Nick went there to get?
Are you convinced your husband left Parker Junction with money?
That's why he went up there.
You're thinking he might have been followed and killed for it, aren't you?
Betty learned the investigation business from my son, Hal. What is it Hal always said, Betty?
Well, he always said that you always said, look for the obvious.
Right.
Mr. Jones, I need help. Would you look into it for me? I can't pay much, but...
Yeah, well, we'll work that out. This, Johnny Arthur. When's the last time you heard from him?
6 weeks, maybe even longer than that. The night Nick called, he said Johnny hadn't even showed up at Parker Junction. Maybe he never did. I'm worried about him, too.
All right, Mrs. Gorman, we have your number, and we'll be in touch with you.
Thank you.
I'll show you out. Now, don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. Bye-bye. Barnaby, what if it was a hit-and-run accident? What if there wasn't any money?
What if there was? I want you to dig up back issues of newspapers from Parker Junction and around there.
How far back?
6, 7 weeks. Any story that smells like quick money. And get a full report on the hit-and-run accident. And I'll call you from Parker Junction.
What do you really hope to find up there?
A lake.
What?
I never did get a chance to try out that new fishing rod you gave me. There's a lake right out of town there. One other thing. The driver who ran down Gorman might have enough insurance to cover a death benefit for the widow of the victim.
If you find him.
Confidence, Betty. Confidence.
Russ?
Is that you?
Yeah, it's me. What do you want?
We alone?
Well, yes, we're alone. What do you want?
Well, you know, when you had me gimmick that fella's car to stall down the road, well, I've been thinking $500 is just not enough. I mean, 10 times 500 is more like it.
$500 is plenty.
No way, Mr. Flory.
I have to get back to the store, Russ. I'll talk to you about it later.
Well, you'd better.
Oh, hi. You Mr. Flory?
No, sir, I'm the mechanic.
Mr. Flory around?
No, sir. No, he's up the street. He also owns the general store.
Oh. My.
He also owns that.
Don't tell me a new car needs repair already.
Nah, he just likes to keep it out of the sun. He'll get over it. I only got it a month. How can I help you?
Yes, I'm Barnaby Jones, and I'm going to be in town in a day or so, and I'd like to have my car lubed and tuned if you think it needs it. It was knocking pretty bad coming up the mountain.
I'll look at it, Mr. Jones.
I'll be back in a little while. Oh, you happen to know who in town is in charge of issuing fishing license renewal?
Mr. Flory does that, too.
Who else? Morning.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Flory? Yep. I'm told you're the man to see about getting a fishing license renewed.
Barnaby Jones. Mr. Jones, if you're here to do some fishing, you might find it a bit late in the season.
I wonder if the trout know that.
Good point. They might not. I see for occupation you put down retired.
Yes, I got a lot of time on my hands now. Time to see things and notice things that I never noticed before. I was always in too much of a hurry. For instance, I noticed that you're wearing a new suit. That's nice. And that fancy car parked over in the garage, that's yours, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
You know, new things have a way of bragging.
Look,
Oh, nothing personal. Say, do you know a place in town that would put me up for a night or two?
Clover House up the corner. That'll be $3.
Much obliged.
That's a duplicate of the fishing license Flory sold him.
Well, the man could be here for just a little innocent fishing.
Not this late in the season. Check on that. Find out exactly who he is.
If he's not who or what he seems to be.
There'll be a meeting of the town council.
Barnaby, I checked back 2 months on news from good old Parker Junction. I am now a fountain of information on 16 marriages, who gave what parties, football scores. But, Barnaby, there were no truck heists, bank robberies, kidnappings, nothing. Not even one wife beating. I'm sorry, I guess that isn't much help, is it?
You guessed, it isn't.
Well, do you want me to do anything else?
Yeah. Get a hold of our client, Mrs. Gorman, and find out all you can about Nick's friend, Johnny Arthur. That's the one that's been missing 6-7 weeks.
No, I already did that. Nick and Johnny Arthur were in the service together. Paratroopers. They were buddies, hellraisers. That's about it. Listen, I'm going up to Sacramento this afternoon to get a full report from the state police on the hit-and-run accident. I'll tell the answering service to pick up, okay?
Check in at the Starbright Motel up there. I'll call you.
All right. Hey, be careful.
All I'm going to do is a little fishing.
Something I could do for you?
Mr. Spink?
Yeah, but I'm afraid we're closed for the season.
Oh, that's a pity. Man has a good business there, bunch of new boats, turning away customers.
Well, we couldn't let the boats go out and wind like this. And anyway, the fact is I am closed for the season. I just happened to be driving by and I saw you. I thought I'd tell you.
Yeah, I used to run a place like this once, long time ago. I got a brand new rod just begging to be used. Do any harm if I fish off the end of your dock here?
Well,
I will need some bait. I use 2 hooks, salmon eggs on one and cheese on the other. Get remarkable results.
No, Mr. Jones, I don't...
Did I mention my name? Oh, I must have, or you wouldn't have known it. Funny. You introduce yourself and you forget you did it. You itch up there?
No, just habit.
Well, they do say that massaging the scalp stimulates hair growth. How about it? Gotta go fishing.
All right, Mr. Jones, I'll sell you the bait.
I appreciate that.
Is there something I can do for you?
The door was open, so I came in.
Yes, I see you did.
I been looking at your map.
Oh, you interested in some property?
Maybe. I was noticing this parcel here, about 250 acres.
The Eli Ryle Ranch, 242. That's not on the market.
Oh, I see you got a red pin stuck in it, and unless I'm wrong, that means that it's for sale.
Oh, my, did I forget to remove that?
Well, you sold it.
No. Mr. Ryle simply changed his mind about selling.
I hope you don't mind, but I've been looking through your book of listings.
Oh, then you knew it was Mr. Ryle's ranch.
Well, it says so right here in the book. This is a little out of date, too, because it says that it's for sale. When I saw that, I wanted to take a look at it on your map. That's a pretty big first mortgage, isn't it?
He paid it off.
Did he pay off the second, too?
Well...
Oh, yeah, of course. He would have to pay off the second before he paid off the first. Sounds like he came into some money. Did he?
Why are you asking these questions?
Well, I'm interested in the price of real estate up here.
Now, look here, Mr.
Would you like
Jones.
some fish?
No, thank you.
Well, that's a shame. Hate to see him go to waste. I'd throw him back in the lake, but I think it's a little late for that.
You expect to be staying around here very long, Mr. Jones?
Well, I haven't made up my mind just how long I'm going to stay around here. Thank you very much for your kindness, ma'am. I just admired your car and those private license plates. I always wanted to get some of those. But my daughter-in-law, who worries a lot about me and keeps the books, keeps pointing out that we could use the $25 for better things. It's real nice. New?
A few weeks.
Real nice. Anybody here? Florrie? I didn't see you.
No, I guess not.
I was looking for your mechanic.
Oh, Russ quit yesterday afternoon.
Just like that?
Well, it's off-season, not much business. It's hard to keep a regular mechanic this time of year.
And I guess I won't be able to find him. I mean, to fix my car.
No, I'm afraid you won't.
That's odd. When I was here yesterday, he didn't say a word about quitting.
Well, that's the way it goes. They get a notion in their heads and off they go.
Wonder what kind of a notion it was.
You might as well take your car.
Yeah, I guess so. I thought I'd have a look at the real estate up here.
Any real estate in particular?
Well, I thought I'd have a talk with Mr. Ryle. He seems to do real well with his place.
You're trespassing.
You don't have to shoot me, Mr. Ryle. I'll come along peaceable.
What are you doing on my property?
Well, I heard it was for sale. I couldn't raise anybody at the house, so I thought I'd just look around.
Well, the ranch is no longer for sale.
Oh, everything's for sale at the right price.
Why don't you just get the hell out of here?
You always this friendly?
To trespassers, yes, that's exactly how friendly I am.
Well, in that case, a fella could get himself killed just walking around on your 242 acres, especially if he was a stranger. Is your boy Mr. Ryle?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Barnaby Jones. What's your name?
Eddie.
Hi, Eddie. Very happy to make your acquaintance. Kind of late, isn't it? What time is it? Oh, 3:45. Oh, it'll be dark in no time. Sorry to bother you, Mr. Ryle.
Come here. I said come here. Give me that watch. I told you to get rid of all the gear, everything. You want to advertise to the whole world that we buried a hijacker here?
Mr. Jones ain't the whole world.
No, he ain't the whole world. But do you know what we got to do to Mr. Jones now? Do you? We have to kill him.
I had a chance at him in the garage, but didn't work out.
You're crazy, all of you.
I agree. We can't kill every stranger passes through Parker Junction.
B, he knows.
Oh, calm down, Eli. How does he know?
I caught him tramping all over my property. I'm sure he was looking for the grave.
Mr. Jones was interested in your property. I told him it was no longer for sale, but maybe just wanted to have a look at it anyway.
Try this on, then. He saw my kid wearing the hijacker's watch.
He what? Oh, my Lord.
I know. I told that kid not to take anything, but he did. And that's the giveaway. Everybody knows that hijacker bailed out 100 miles from here.
That watch is something you could have picked up for the boy at an Army and Navy store. Barnaby Jones may not suspect anything.
He's right. Now we're jumping in our own shadows. We've got to get control of ourselves. We're suspicious of everybody. That's not good.
Why didn't you three leave me alone? You wouldn't be in this if you'd have left me alone. Nobody would have known I had it except you saw me bury the body. Now, what right did you have to be on my land, trespassing? And all your questions about how was I able to pay off the first and second mortgages. And you told him, B. You had to tell him. And then you guessed where the money came from. $1 million in unmarked bills. And you moved in on me, blackmailed me for your share.
Eli.
Your share of my money.
Calm down.
Greed got into this. Filthy gut greed. No one would have suspected me, and now look where we are. Gorman is dead, and where does it all end?
It can end here and now, but not with the murder of a man who may very well be up here on a fishing trip and nothing more.
Well, it may be just a little more than a fishing trip. I ran that check on Jones.
Who is he?
He's a private detective.
Oh, hi, Sheriff. Say, it just occurred to me that I probably should have laid my cards on the table when I first got here. I'm a private detective, and I'm working on a case.
Is that so? Well, I'd be interested to know who hired you.
Wife of a man named Nick Gorman.
A hit-and-run victim.
Yes. Ms. Gorman got a copy of the police report of the accident, but it didn't satisfy her, so she asked me to look into it.
Well, it's very tragic, Mr. Jones, but there's nothing to look into, really. I received an eyewitness report that a Cadillac struck and killed Nick Gorman. Coffee?
No, thanks. Who was that eyewitness?
Eli Ryle. He has a ranch nearby.
Oh, yeah. He's the man that drives the Jeep. Yeah, I met him today. Did he get the license number?
No, I'm afraid not. That car was really traveling. I took out after it, but I had too much of a head start. I reported all that to the state police.
Oh, it sounds pretty thorough. Guess that kind of wraps it up. Of course, Mrs. Gorman seems to think that her husband was carrying a wad of money.
I didn't find any.
Could be pure conjecture. You know how wives are and what husbands tell them to keep them happy.
Yeah.
You mind if I tell you a little professional secret?
Sure.
Taking on this case was just an excuse for me to get a little fishing in.
Did you hear that?
I suppose you believed him?
Well, you people don't believe anybody.
That's right. We got a check on every outsider coming in here, and he's smart enough to know that.
Identified himself to throw you off.
Well, he didn't throw me off. And you four aren't putting me off another day.
Sheriff wants his cut of the money.
Yeah.
Well, how long do you expect me to stand by for a string of homicides? Hit and run or any other kind?
You'll get your money.
You bet.
I'll see to it, Sheriff. I'll see you get it.
You'll see to it. You people make me sick. A private detective gets here and you have sudden riches showing all over town. He's not an idiot. Now, I don't know which one of you got the X this time, and I don't want to know. But whoever it is, better not miss.
The coroner reports that when Gorman was hit, his body made violent contact with the vehicle.
A Cadillac.
Well, Mrs. Jones, there's now a serious question about that. There was glass from a headlight all over the road, and the lab's been putting the pieces together. Some of them as tiny as slivers, so it's quite a job.
It might not be a Cadillac headlight, huh?
We don't know yet. But we suspect it's too big for a Cadillac. A car like that has double headlights. and the glass covering each is approximately 6 inches in diameter. The headlight now being reconstructed in the lab is considerably larger.
Really?
A single headlight with a dual beam. The kind used on smaller vehicles, such as compacts, jeeps, on that order.
I see.
So we'll know more about it once it's all pasted together.
But the sheriff in Parker Junction said that the hit-and-run vehicle was a Cadillac.
Well, he probably really didn't see it himself and took somebody's word for it. These accident witnesses are wrong half the time. Now, still, that's no excuse. Hit and run is a serious felony.
Right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Say hello to your father-in-law for me.
I'll do that. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Afternoon, Mr. Jones.
Afternoon, ma'am.
Just Molly. Everyone calls me Molly. Have a nice day?
Awful.
What's the matter?
My car. You know, it's a funny thing, but, Russ, the mechanic down at the garage, he's going to do some work on it, and he just disappeared. Now, why would he do a thing like that?
Isn't like Russ.
I sure wish I knew where he lived.
Oh, Russ owns a house here in town.
I sure would like to see him. I need work done on my car that just won't wait.
Well, why don't you just run on over to his house and talk about it? He lives at the corner of Orchard and Market, a little house with pillars on the porch.
Russ? Anybody here?
Look.
Evening, gentlemen. What is it, a town council meeting?
Hello, Mr. Jones.
Beer? Suppose I could have a glass of milk?
Yes, sir. Shot of whiskey in it or a double?
Straight.
Straight milk?
Well, Mr. Flory, looks like I'm going to have my car fixed after all.
I don't know who's going to do it.
Your mechanic, Russ.
I told you, Russ Lee took off for parts unknown.
Well, that may very well be. But it does seem strange. Why would a healthy young man leave town without taking all his things with him? Clothes, skis, picture of his mother? Not to mention that house of his. Seemed to me he'd want to sell that before he went anywhere. No use, Mr. Spake.
What's no use?
You're never gonna grow hair up there. Yes, sir. It looks like Russ is still around. He's gonna be at work bright and early in the morning.
Of course he will.
What were you doing at Russ's place?
Well, I had a fool notion I could get my car fixed tonight.
There's nothing wrong with your car.
Did Russ tell you that?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Spake, you gonna play?
Too bad. Well, it's getting on toward my bedtime. This mountain air sure makes you sleep good. What owe you?
15 cents.
Keep the change.
Thank you, sir.
Russ tried to blackmail me. He tried the same thing with me. Wanted more than the 500 I gave him, a lot more. 10 times 500, but I didn't kill him. I suppose tomorrow your kid will have a wristwatch on the other arm.
Now, you shut up. What are you gonna do about Jones? You're the one that got the X.
Tomorrow morning.
Okay?
Oh, well, let's just say I'm here. What's going on?
Well, when I called you in Sacramento last night, you told me that the hit-and-run car that killed Nicky Gorman was not a Cadillac.
Yeah. Well, they think it's some sort of compact or Jeep, maybe.
Well, yesterday, I saw a Jeep with what looked like a brand-new headlight. At least the other one was all spattered with mud.
Are you saying you know the identity of the driver of the hit-and-run accident?
It wasn't an accident.
He was murdered.
I'd say so. Betty, there is new money around here. A man named Flory, a real estate woman, both driving big, expensive new cars. There's a rancher with a great big mortgage, all paid off. New boats on the lake. New money. It sort of...
Sticks out a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, Betty, I could put this all together if you had told me there'd been a bank robbery or a stick-up of an armored car.
Barnaby, there's nothing. I dug all the way from the hijacking at Reading to the truck heist in Seattle. It's just nothing.
Hijacking?
You remember that the Sky Pirate who bailed out with $1 million 100 miles from here. They never found him. The FBI found him.
Does anybody remember his name?
I don't think he ever gave it out.
Betty, you remember something else you told me?
Nick Gorman and Johnny Arthur were both
Paratroopers.
Oh.
Nick probably masterminded it for Johnny Arthur. He had a survival kit stashed in the woods, told him to lay low for 6 weeks until the big search for him was over.
At which time Nick was going to meet him here at Parker Junction.
Nick showed up, asked for him by another name, but described him so perfectly that somebody panicked.
Somebody who'd already found the $1 million ransom.
Found Johnny Arthur along with it and murdered him. Took his life, his money, and his watch.
And when Nick began to suspect what had happened...
They had to kill him, too. It's merry-go-round, Betty, and once it starts, it's hard to stop. That young mechanic at the garage, he caught on. He's missing. He's probably dead, too. Are you all right?
No, I'm scared silly.
Let's get out of here.
Okay.
No, your car. Let's hope he's watching mine.
Well, what do we do now?
What I'm going to do is have a talk with him.
Talk after what just happened?
There's no proof against the killer of Nicky Gorman that would warrant making an arrest.
Well, then what can you do?
I must have stirred him up pretty good last night in the tavern. Now I'm betting that they're going to call a panic meeting, and I'm going to be there.
Barnaby.
My guess is that the Skyjack secret is among the 4 of them. 5, counting the sheriff. Nobody else in town knows. And they're not fools enough to raise a hand to me in front of citizens who may turn out to be witnesses later on.
What witnesses?
You'll find some. That Molly that runs a hotel up there. Get anybody you can. That's the reason I brought you up here.
Barnaby, what good is a confrontation with them when you just said there's no proof?
Here they come. It's a meeting of the clan, all right. Andy Spake coming in. There's Ryle's Jeep. John Flory coming up. And Dear B. Johnson. Full cast. Well, time for me to go to the party.
Barnaby.
Time for you, too.
I couldn't help it. I
Shouldn't have left anything.
Would you listen to me? Would you listen to me? Just 1 minute. Listen to me. Look, I had him right in the sights. This woman drove up in a
What
car.
woman?
How do I know?
If you had him right in the sights, why didn't you
Look,
just
she'd
pull
get
up
driving.
further?
Look, she'd move one way. Then he'd get up and he'd walk around the...
difference does it make if you
Listen, I was trying. I did the best I could.
Well, the best wasn't good enough.
You do it.
Spake? Got a message for you.
A message for me?
State police are on the way over to pick up that Jeep you were driving the day you killed Nicky Gorman.
No, not me. I wasn't driving. It's Ryle's Jeep.
Doesn't make any difference. You were driving it.
I wasn't driving it, I
Can't
swear.
you keep your mouth shut?
Of course you were driving. Left headlight shattered on impact. Pieces of glass in Gorman's body. They'll match up.
Mr. Jones, don't you hear me? I
Spake, you
swear.
fool, you're doing exactly what he wants.
It's murder, Spake.
What about him?
Oh, I know. Mr. Ryle killed that hijacker that Gorman came
I
up here
didn't
to
kill
meet.
anybody.
Where are you going?
You buried him on your property. Buried everything he had with him except his watch.
You crazy fool. That's how he knows.
Do something, will you? Do something!
You buried the mechanic Russ Lee there, too, didn't you?
Hijackers are a menace to the world, and Russ was a blackmailer.
Oh, dear God, Ryle!
Well, he knows, doesn't he? They'll be digging up the graves.
Shut up, Riles. Just shut up.
Look, Mr. Jones, you gotta believe me. When I found that suitcase full of money, I was gonna turn it all in, but I was gonna lose my ranch. I needed the money. I waited my whole life for a chance like that. And then they moved in on me.
Are you insane? Be quiet!
Now, that's enough. You four are under arrest.
Well, Sheriff, that took a lot of gall, since you're a part of it. And particularly, since we have an audience. Come on out, see for yourself. They heard every word. The whole confession. All the squabbling about who killed who. Oh, Mr. Flory, if you're thinking of going out the back door, it won't do any good. Why did you join us? Hi.
How you doing?
Fine.
Did you catch anything?
Not a nibble.
Ah, that's too
Want some
bad.
lunch?
Yeah, don't mind if I do.
Well?
You were right. Eli Ryle did carry liability insurance, which means that Helena Gorman stands to collect about $20,000. And we stand to collect a little fee.
Did you call her?
Of course I did. Right after a judge formally charged all those involved.
Including the sheriff.
Yep. And that means there is no lawman in Parker Junction. And they asked me if you'd like to temporarily take over the job. You might be able to get in some nice fishing the next couple of days.
Before the fish quit for the season. Here we go. Here we are. Hey, forget about the sandwich. I got a better lunch coming.
Great.
Barnaby Jones. Starring Buddy Ebsen. Also starring Lee Merriweather. With guest star James Olson. Tonight's episode, Catch Me If You Can.
Hey, Barnaby. I didn't know who it was at first. You're not working on Saturday, are you?
Well, 2 days rest always makes me feel like a loafer. I'm on my way up to the office, pick up some papers, fly up to San Francisco, wrap up a case. You don't look like you're exactly on the way to go fishing yourself.
Haven't got the time.
You really taken to this private detective work, haven't you, Eddie?
Well, I won't lie to you, Barnaby, and tell you I don't miss the force, but... Well, a man's got to finish what he started. And I'm this close to finishing.
You're not still after that butterfly killer.
Barnaby, I'm breathing right down his neck. It's just like the department psychiatrist said. He wants to get caught.
Eddie.
That's why he keeps writing me those notes, to keep me on the track. Well, this time he went too far. One note too many, Barnaby, and I'm going to nail him with it.
You know, it's too bad you're so tied up. I had to turn down a case yesterday, been right up your alley. Say, maybe I can still...
Thanks, Barnaby. Maybe in a week or so I'll give you a call to go fishing.
Sounds good. Don't forget it.
Right. Yes, operator. I'd like the number for Gene Merrick. M-E-R-R-I-C-K. In West L.A. Brentwood area, I think. I'll be with you in a minute. 4757. Thank you. Come in. It's about a case. I can't take anything new right now. But I know a good man, Barnaby Jones.
I didn't come here to hire a private detective. I came to get one off my back. That last clue I sent you, it worries me. I went too far. This typewriter says that you figured it out.
You're the one.
That's right. And I'm not ready to end the game.
I'll get it, Mary. Oh, thank heavens. Mary's been asking for you.
Barnaby, I'm so glad you're here.
I came down from San Francisco as soon as I got Betty's call.
Thank you. You knew Eddie so well, Barnaby.
We went back a lot of years.
I know what people are saying, that everything was going downhill for him lately. But that's not true, not entirely. Maybe he was depressed about his work, but not his life. You too saw the garden.
It's beautiful as ever.
Eddie worked in the garden Saturday morning, just as he did every Saturday.
I saw Eddie Saturday. He was on the way to his office.
What did he say?
He said he was close to nailing the butterfly killer.
He was, and he had reason to be.
Why do you say that?
It's a feeling I have, Barnaby. You live with a man most of your life, you can sense when things are going right for him. Eddie was on to something. I know it.
You know something? I'm inclined to agree with you. I think this time Eddie was close. Too close.
Do you think the killer found out and murdered him?
It's a possibility.
Barnaby, I have some savings. Find out what really happened. Prove it wasn't suicide.
I intend to. But I'm going to hire myself on this one. Just like with Eddie, it's become a personal matter.
Didn't they find her body in a vacant lot somewhere?
Yes, she'd gone to a costume party the night before dressed as Madame Butterfly.
That's right, I remember. The newspapers picked it up and labeled the murderer the butterfly killer. Did you find anything?
Yes. Some of those taunting notes the killer sent Eddie when he first took charge of the investigation. I will turn myself in, but I want to watch you cops chase me a little longer. I've changed my mind. She deserved to die. This game is becoming a bore. Catch me if you can.
What kind of a man does something like this?
A very dangerous one. Eddie must have started this folder last June when he retired from the force.
I wonder what became of those notes.
When I saw Eddie Saturday, he said that the killer had gone a little too far. He'd send one note too many and Eddie was going to nail him with it. The killer probably took that note along with the rest of them from this folder. Eddie, let's get all of Eddie's papers together. Take them over to the office. Let's see if we can't find something that resembles an appointment. Betty, did you find a pair of scissors or a knife in there?
No. Why?
According to the police report, Eddie hung himself with a cord from this lamp.
So?
What did he cut it with?
For if a dedication to duty is the hallmark of a great man, then Edward Lawrence Wheelock sleeps among giants, at peace with his final reward. For as much as the spirit of our brother departed hath entered in life immortal, we therefore commit his body to its resting place. May he dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
He was a fine officer, Mary.
Mary.
Be in touch with you, Mary. Lieutenant. Lieutenant, when your boys went through Eddie's office, did they find a knife or scissors?
No, why?
I'm just trying to make some sense out of something that's pretty senseless.
Barnaby, Mary told me you were looking into Eddie's death. Want some professional advice?
That's the best kind.
Accept the coroner's verdict, death by suicide. Bury this whole tragic episode right here. This is a good place for it.
I wish I could. But I'm afraid to bury the truth. It's got a way of coming back and haunting you.
One hamburger with all the trimmings coming right up. Oh, Barnaby, what you really need is a good night's sleep.
No, what I really need is a crystal ball. Try to make some sense out of this mess.
Nothing?
As far as I can decipher, Eddie had one appointment all last week with Gene Merrick.
Do you know him?
He was Eddie's prime suspect in the slaying until Merrick was completely exonerated. I wonder why he went to see Merrick.
I almost forgot. A special delivery letter came for you while I was downstairs.
Who from?
I don't know. There's no return address. What is it?
Note. Catch me if you can.
I don't understand, Mr. Jones. The newspapers said that Eddie Wheelock's death was a suicide.
They also predicted rain for today, Mr. Merrick.
Well, you realize that Wheelock wasn't one of my favorite human beings.
Yeah, according to the reports, he gave you a pretty rough time during the initial investigation.
Rough, he got it into his head that I was the butterfly killer.
Well, you were the last one known to have seen the girl alive.
Look, I only walked her to the car when she left the party, period.
According to the reports, you were also having an affair with her, Mr. Merrick. One she intended to break off unless you divorced your wife.
Yeah, Wheelock really worked over that little fact, didn't he?
Eddie Wheelock was a good cop. He was working on a tough case. He was also a fair cop. He later exonerated you.
But my wife didn't. Shortly after the news of my relationship with Linda became known, she filed for divorce. And now I only see my kids on weekends.
I'm sorry about that, but you really can't blame Eddie for your indiscretions. He was just after the truth. He wanted to find Linda Barr's killer.
Look, I'm a little busy. What do you want to know?
Eddie came to see you last week. What about?
A note or something he got from the killer? Killer said he was at the company costume party the night Linda was murdered. Wheelock wanted to know if I could give him a list of everyone at the party.
Could you?
Not right away, but my secretary finally gave him one.
Any chance you might have a copy?
A good one. She's very efficient.
I'd like to see it.
Here's the list, Mr. Jones. You may keep it if you wish.
You're very efficient. You even listed the costumes everyone wore.
Well, as best I could.
Eddie Wheelock must have asked for this, too.
Yes, he did. How did you know?
I'm a detective. Thank you very much. Oh, what photographer did you use for the party?
We always use the Kenton Studios.
Kenton Studio. Thank you.
Mr. Stone! These are to be processed right away, or whatever it is you and your machines do with them.
You make it sound like we're one and the same.
No. It's just that, well, this is where you spend so much of your time. I don't know how you do it. Computers seem so complicated to me.
They puzzle a lot of people. But I like puzzles.
Mr. Jones, you're the second person in 2 weeks that's asked to see the proofs of that costume party.
Was the first one named Eddie Wheelock?
Yeah, I believe it was. Said he was investigating that butterfly case.
Mr. Kenton, why is this picture smaller than the others, like a piece of it's been cut off?
Because it has. Mr. Wheelock asked if he could cut off one of the people in it.
Which one?
Tell you the truth, I didn't even notice. I just handed him the scissors.
Now, these two pictures seem to be the same group.
Same group, slightly different angle.
Except this one, there's a tiger missing. Here, look for yourself.
Mr. Wheelock must have cut the tiger off.
According to this list, there wasn't even a tiger at the party.
Yes, hold on.
Any luck on the costume?
It seems most companies don't keep records past 6 months. I'm talking to Mardi Gras costumes right now. Do you think this really might be the killer?
Good possibility. Uninvited guest. Name wasn't on the party list. The police couldn't check him out. And there must be some reason why Eddie wanted this picture.
Yes. You do? Well, Mr. Jones will be down in a few minutes to talk to you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Forbes. Right. Bye-bye. Mardi Gras has a tiger costume that sounds like the one you're looking for.
I'm back here.
Oh, it's you.
You remember me.
I never forget a face or a costume that goes with it. Besides, you're very popular lately.
Popular?
A man came in last week asking about that tiger suit you rented. He had a picture of it and wanted to know your name. I'm not very good at remembering names, so I told him I'd have to check in the back files, and I'd get in touch with him later.
Did you ever get back to him?
I've been calling him for the last few days, but his line's disconnected. And just a few minutes ago, a woman phoned, calling about the same thing. She said a Mr. Jones was going to stop by to see me.
The woman that called, did you give her my name?
I just told her we had a tiger costume like the one she described.
Where's the rental card now?
Right here in the desk. Here it is. Stone, Mr. Randall Stone. What's it all about, anyway?
You wouldn't understand. But you must believe I'm sorry
Sorry about what?
that you've become part of the game.
I don't understand. Please, don't. Please, please, no. No, no, no.
Excuse me, I'm looking for Mrs. Forbes.
Oh, she's probably on her lunch break. Take the elevator to the 4th floor and just call out.
Thank you. Miss Forbes! You hear, Miss Forbes? Miss Forbes?
Who is it?
It's me, Randall.
The rent's on the table.
I didn't come up for that reason, Randall. But as long as I'm here, I'll just take the check, and you can use the envelope for something else. You were up early this morning, Randall. I heard you go out and get the newspaper. Guess you couldn't sleep, huh? I know how that is. Believe me, ever since my husband died, I find it harder and harder to sleep at night. I think it has something to do with being alone so much of the time. Don't you, Randall? I mean, we're both alone so much.
I'm late for work, Stella.
Oh, I see you've already done today's crossword puzzle. It's amazing how fast you do them. I bet it's because you used to know all about those different languages from when you taught at college. Randall, did you read about the murder at the Mardi Gras Costume Company? Oh, poor woman. I bet some creep just probably felt like killing somebody and she was around. And do you know, I bet he's just some normal-looking guy you wouldn't even look at twice. The type that fades into the woodwork. Don't you think so, Randall?
I told you I'm late for work, Stella.
Yeah. Sure. I'll let you get ready, Randall. See you. I stopped by Mary's.
How is she?
Oh, as well as can be expected, I guess. The reality of her being alone is just now getting to her, I think. Oh, there wasn't much mail forwarded from Eddie's office except for a few advertisements in this bill from the Apex Typewriter Company.
For one Greek keyed typewriter?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of strange.
Sure is. Mary know anything about that?
No.
You remember seeing any typewriter in Eddie's office besides that standard portable here?
No.
Neither do I.
Why would Eddie want a typewriter with a Greek keyboard?
It's a good question. Sounds good.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how beat up some of these things get when you let them out. Sometimes I think I'm renting to elephants. Anything I can do for you?
Yes, sir. Did you rent this machine?
Yeah, about a week ago. You returning it?
No, I'm Barnaby Jones, a private investigator, and my problem is that I want to figure out what Mr. Wheelock wanted with a Greek typewriter. You don't handle many of those, do you?
Try to make my living off Greek typewriters. I'd be on welfare right now.
Did he happen to mention what he wanted with it?
I don't... Oh, yeah. I remember now. He said something about he had to translate a note that was written in Greek.
Translate on a typewriter?
It's exactly what I said. As a matter of fact, I suggested to him that he take the note to somebody who spoke Greek. And he said he already did that. I had no choice except to fall back on the old businessman's creed.
What's that?
Never argue with a customer. I rented him the typewriter.
Excellent.
You're welcome.
The young ones, Barnaby, are not like their mothers who came from the old country.
You gotta give him credit for trying.
You got a point there. All right, you convinced me. Be here at 8 o'clock tonight.
Oh, thank you. Isn't that wonderful?
Sad thing about your friend Eddie Wheelock.
Yes, that's what I came to talk to you about, Achilles. Eddie stopped by to see you recently, didn't he?
Just last week.
Something about a message in Greek?
That's right. He wanted me to translate it for him.
Did you?
Barnaby, when I was a young man in the old country, I was always moving around from place to place, and not always by choice, mind you. But in my travels, I thought I mastered every Greek dialect known to man, until I saw Eddie's note. There was no way on earth for me to translate.
What was the difficulty?
The difficulty, my old friend, was that it didn't make sense. The letters were Greek, all right, but they didn't spell anything. Just so much, how do you say it? Mumbo mumbo?
Mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, mumbo jumbo. And nothing more. Eddie told me to keep trying, and then he left.
You still have the note?
Well, he left me a copy. I've been showing it to some of my friends, but... Barnaby, believe me, mumbo jumbo.
He's got to be here somewhere. Somewhere in this note. Some kind of a code, something. Gotta figure it out.
It'll still be there in the morning. And you'll be a lot fresher, too.
I gotta keep at it, Betty. I'm so close.
Barnaby, didn't you get back to any of these people yet?
Where would I get the time?
Well, this Mr. Jensen called 3 times. He needs your help. He said it was very important.
I'll get back to him in the morning. Sorry, Betty.
Don't you see what's happening to you, Barnaby? You're becoming as obsessed with this case as Eddie was. He couldn't think of anything else either.
Yeah, you're right. See if you can get Jensen.
All right. It's his office phone. I'm not sure he's there yet, though. I guess he isn't in his office.
Eddie? Eddie, come here, quick. I think I've got it. What does it say?
I don't know. It's all Greek to me.
Betty Jones. It's a code. The killer's own personal code. You see, this note was typed on a Greek typewriter, but the words are really in English. Now, all the killer did was to substitute a Greek character for an English letter. Look at the 2 keyboards.
Keys are laid out the same.
Now, all we have to do is reverse the procedure and hit the equivalent of the Greek letter on the American machine. Now, here is the first letter. I. Just give me a couple of minutes and I'll have this thing translated.
Do you think Eddie broke the code, too?
I'm almost positive he did.
And that's why he was killed. In some ways, it's like opening Pandora's box. What does it say?
I worked with the butterfly. I have good reason to believe the killer worked here, Mr. Merrick, and possibly still does.
Well then, Mr. Jones, obviously the police would have checked him out at the time of the murder.
Not necessarily. The police only checked out the people who went to the costume party.
Oh, but that was everyone who worked here, Mr. Jones. It was a company party at the Pavilion Hotel. Everyone was invited. I know for a fact that everyone came.
No one was left off this guest list for any reason?
Not that I can think of.
Did you see anyone at the party dressed in a tiger costume?
Oh, come on, Mr. Jones. It's been almost a year.
And besides, I'm the wrong person to ask about that.
Why?
Because I only stayed at the party for about an hour or so.
Did you get sick?
Not me, Randall Stone.
Who's Randall Stone?
He works in the computer room.
I don't find his name on the guest list.
That's right. I forgot. Randall wasn't invited because he was working the night shift then. I just saw no reason to send him an invitation.
But he got sick the night of the party.
Yes, and I had to come back here to find someone to take his place, which wasn't easy on such short notice.
Where's Randall Stone now?
In the computer room, I imagine. I'll find out for you. Randall Stone.
What do you know about Randall Stone?
Oh, not much, really. He knows his business, but he keeps pretty much to himself. He's just one of those people that nobody seems to pay any attention to.
Oh? Thank you. Well, isn't that a coincidence?
What?
Randall called in sick today, too.
What's his address?
Good morning. Can I help you?
Is Mr. Jones here?
No, I'm sorry he isn't. Would you like to leave your name and number?
Is it all right if I wait?
Well, I'm not sure when he'll be returning.
It's very important.
Certainly. Have a seat.
You realize I wouldn't allow this under normal circumstances.
Normal circumstances?
If Randall hadn't been so rude to me lately. Listen, private detective or no private detective, I don't believe in spying on my tenants. What are you looking for, anyway?
For what may be the final piece of a puzzle.
Oh, well, you've come to the right place. Randall's always solving puzzles.
I have a feeling he's also good at creating puzzles.
What's that? I didn't know Randall had a typewriter. I've never heard him use it. What kind of a typewriter is that?
Reap.
Well, I'm sorry, my father-in-law isn't back yet, and I've got a lunch date. I'm going to have to close the office, so if you'll leave your name and number, I'll have him call you when he gets back.
I said I'd wait.
Now, look, I
think we better go in there. We'll wait together. Why don't you say something? Anything. Don't you want to know who I am? Or do you know already?
I have an idea.
You know all right. That's why you're so quiet. You're afraid. She was afraid, too. The little butterfly was so afraid she started to cry. Do you understand why I killed her?
I never understand why anyone kills.
Because she was so beautiful, and I wanted her so much. But she was tease. You know what I mean. She used to make me think that she cared for me. She'd smile at me, come in my office sometimes and talk. And that's why I had to be at that costume party with her. She was always surrounded by her friends. So I waited till she left. And I followed her home. And I thought she was going to be happy to see me. She was angry. And she said terrible things to me. She called me a creep. Started laughing and kept on laughing until there was only one way that I could stop her.
Eddie, I found the missing piece. I know who the butterfly killer is.
It's a shame that information won't do you any good, Mr. Jones.
You must be Randall Stone.
That's right.
Well, if you've decided it's time to kill me the way you killed Eddie Wheelock, you're too late. I've already talked to the police. They have your name. They're out looking for you now.
I don't believe you.
Talked to your landlady, Stella. I used the phone in your apartment. It's all over, Stone. It's just a matter of time.
Time can be to my advantage, especially with her as a hostage. Your gun. Take it out. Put it on the desk. Slowly. Now turn around.
What do you hope to gain by this?
I'm just not ready to spend the rest of my life in jail. Come on.
You hurt her.
Now, you just sit tight, Jones. Don't try to follow us, and don't pick up the phone. Not if you ever want to see her alive again. Car's in the parking lot. Back normal.
You'll never get away with this.
For your sake, you better hope I do. slide over on the other side. You're going to drive. Go on.
Jones, pull it! Or you'll get it with your own gun.
Gun's not loaded, Stone. I don't go around with a loaded gun, but I don't think I'm going to use it. Got the shells right here in my pocket. You want to see them?
Barnaby!
Stand right where you are. Get your hands up.
I thought you said it wasn't loaded.
Back where I come from, they'd say you'd been flim-flam.
Barnaby, you're quite a gardener yourself.
You know, when I was a boy, my father used to say there are three things that make a good gardener. Sharp tools, rich soil, and an occasional glass of cold lemonade while you're working. He knew what he was talking about.
Oh, wait till you see what we're having for lunch. Baked ham, sweet potatoes, and fresh corn.
You didn't have to go to all that trouble.
It's no trouble. I like having both of you here.
You're gonna be all right, Mary?
Yes. Even though it doesn't bring Eddie back, it helps knowing the truth about how he died. Thanks, Barnaby. Lunch will be ready soon.
I'll help you with the table.
Yes, sir. He really knew what he was talking about.